Hey everyone, welcome to Live with Melissa Lambert. I am your host, and it's always an honor to come before you to really get some information out in these world, right? I think that there's so much going on, and I told everybody this was a busy week for me. Wednesday with the radio show, Thursday with the radio show, today, Friday, Saturday again, we're booked up. And then Sunday, we are going to be with these same beautiful ladies again. I am so excited because these three ladies are powerful women in their own rights. And when I say powerful, I mean that their career path has led them to a journey that they are actually serving truly on purpose. And I believe that tonight's going to be a conversation that I believe we all need to hear, especially if you're online watching right now. This is the reason why you need to hear this, because we're talking about online safety. Okay. And if you have children, you need to have them also understand what this is all about. So I'm going to decrease and I'm going to increase. The first person that I want to just to come and share is the person that's hosting this amazing online live safety training or safety seminar is Juanika Ballard. She is the CEO and the visionary of I Am Integrity. And I Am Integrity is what it is. It's its name. You know, it stands for integrity because we believe that integrity truly do matter. And I know for a fact that Juanika's heart is in the right place and she is truly ready to serve the people in her community, the people in other states, and hopefully through the globe on purpose. Juanika, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So thank you for having me. Number one, my name is Juanika Ballard. I am the CEO of I Am Integrity. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to saving youth, and we teach young people the importance and the power of having integrity, self-regulation, and accountability. All those things that are necessary to make good adults. Um, so that's who I am. That's our organization, and I'm really happy to be here. I want to thank the other ladies for joining us and helping to make this workshop a success. You're muted.
You see, I'm running my mouth, y'all. Y'all see, I'm running my mouth and nothing's coming out. It's because I was muted. Okay. So thank you, Juanika, for just being who you are. You have graced this platform for these wonderful ladies to really hear the information, be able to share the information, and for this audience to really grab the information. So I'm going to ask Detective Watson. Tell us about yourself. I mean, I thank you because you're in California, so it's 5 o'clock there while it's 8 o'clock here. So tell us about yourself and what you do, please.
Hi, yes, my name is Detective Watson, and I'm a detective for the Rialto Police Department in Rialto, California, which is, I would say, about 50 miles east of Los Angeles. For the Rialto Police Department, I handle all the missing persons that get reported missings and do follow-ups on them. And I handle all the sex crimes against adults and children. And right now, one of our biggest things that I'm working right now is there's a lot of human trafficking going on. And I'm here just pretty much I love to save our children.
Wow. I mean, I applaud you for the job that you do. It's not easy to be able to do what you do as a detective, as a woman that serve our community. And I love how you say, I'm here to protect our children. I'm here to save our children. And I'm a mom, of one, but there's nothing like knowing that your daughter or your son are safe. So thank you for all that you do. So tell us, Candace, I'm just loving this image back there that I want that hourglass shape on that hanger. I was
Motivation.
I wish it can be passed on to my body, but it cannot, but it's okay. So tell us, Candace, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you're going to be impacting the community today.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Candace Burke-Parrott. I am the Executive Director of Freshwaters. That is giving people a new start. I life coach individuals. I have a focus on our youth, at-risk youth, and I really have a passion with the human trafficking, both sex and labor trafficking. So working with people such as Detective Watson and Juanika, because it is important that we have the collaboration. So I'm also acting Deputy Director of Araminta, and so we really do focus on working with the youth, the missing youth, but bringing awareness so that we can educate parents on what it is not.
I love it. It's amazing, this platform of women that you ladies, all three of you are in service. You serve our community. Juanika been on the force for over 2 decades, and I know for a fact how her heart. She loves she love y'all adults, but she really don't love y'all that much as much as she loves these children. Okay, so Juanika will tell you she's a big kid, right? And to know that she started an organization, and y'all can see I'm wearing my I Am Integrity shirt, and I had to surprise her. I had to search. I said, where is my I Am Integrity shirt? Because that's what this organization stands for, to protect our youth, to educate our youth, to save our youth. So to know that your first seminar workshop is online. So tell me, Juanika, tell us a little bit, first of all, about I Am Integrity, so we can kind of gauge what this organization is all about. And then we're going to go into, human trafficking. We're going to talk about, I know Detective Watson, you had a big case in California, and you were one that helped bring this young lady home. I know we can't talk about the entire case, but, give us a walkthrough of what that looks like for us as well. So Juanika, first of all, tell us about I Am Integrity and why I Am Integrity and why now.
So I Am Integrity, again, is a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and it's dedicated to saving our youth. We want to teach young people the importance of integrity and accountability and positive self-esteem, positive self-talk, and also about consequences. It wouldn't be fair to just kind of paint a picture of rainbows and unicorns without giving them the other side if they choose to make a different decision, paying attention to whatever those consequences are. We are a comprehensive program, mostly designed to be an after-school program, but it is one of the benefits of I Am Integrity is preventing juvenile incarceration and death through means of violence. We can teach young people about accountability and integrity, and that their decisions have consequences. Then if they can think those things through and consider all of the factors before they make a decision, we can reduce or eliminate it. My goal is to eliminate juvenile arrest and incarceration, as well as create a generation of young people who are able to take our jobs. They're able to, we feel comfortable passing the torch over because we know they have accountability. We know that they have integrity, and that they're going to make the decisions that is allowed for their job or their trade. So those are things that we're trying to build up in our young people so that we can create another generation of trailblazers, critical thinkers, and people who hold the next generation accountable.
Wow. I'm just happy to hear that finally somebody is going to hold the next generation accountable. Because right now you find so many of them are, I'm not going to call out this generation lost, but they have such an entitlement that they don't know the value of what integrity should look like. So I'm grateful to the fact that, Juanika, you do exist for this purpose. So when I hear human trafficking, remember, Detective Watson is talking about human trafficking. She, that's one of her assignment, right? And Candace, human trafficking as well. We hear human traffic here in America, right? And we think overseas. We think foreign. But Candace, I'm going to ask you that question. Is human traffic only foreign? Like, is it only something that happens when, people will say they're scared to go to Africa because they feel like they're going to be trafficked, or different part of the world, they feel like they're going to be trafficked or, taken, right? Do we believe that that's the only place that is really human trafficking is happening? Can you just shed the light on that, Candace, for us?
Absolutely. One of the things we do is the prevention, the education, and the restoration. So when we're dealing with rescues and we get these kids, the parents, the families are always shocked that it happened to them. And so I think that one of the things that we push, and I'm on the Human Trafficking Task Force as well, is that we push that it's not that white van. Don't think that it can only be females. Don't think that trafficker looks like the boogeyman, right? The trafficker is somebody that's in places of power, in positions. And so when we tell people, that smuggling is not trafficking, people would like to think that when you talk about the border, you're talking about that foreign issue. Is it a foreign issue? Absolutely. But it's about 7% of the trafficking cases that we deal with. And so when we talk about what's going on in our backyard, and we're talking about cases as young as 10, and then the parents are like, I had no idea that my child was caught up in that. That's what we're going to speak more about on Sunday, but it definitely is not only a foreign issue.
Wow. Thank you so much. 1 second. There we go. I'm thankful that you can say that, Candace, because that's one of the things as parents, we need to be enlightened, and you said something. Parents say, I didn't think my child was involved in stuff like that. So Detective Watson, you may have heard that statement so many times. I didn't know my daughter was online talking to a grown man, or, ready to go meet somebody, or my son. You may have heard that type of language, just like Candace just shared. Parents sometimes are, not aware. So Detective Watson, tell us about your experience when it comes to human trafficking, and now looking for these victims, and finally we have a victory and we found these children. Tell us more about that. Oh, 1 second. Oh, she's talking. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Can you hear? First of all, I would like to say I am so blessed to have met Ms. Officer Ballard we were in a class together, and we met and we immediately clicked. And I think it's because we have a lot in common. So I just want to say I feel very blessed to have met her. And so as far as human trafficking, first of all, I'd like to tell parents, they need to monitor their children's social media, because this is where it usually happens, on social media, where these kids are meeting people that they don't know, who are pretending to be someone of their age, and they like to go to these kids who have low self-esteem, whose parents possibly work all the time, don't spend a lot of time with them. First of all, parents need to monitor their kids' social media. They need to have access to know who they're calling, passwords. To me, kids shouldn't have passwords. Parents should have immediate access. But the human trafficking, as I'm coming to learn, as I'm doing a lot more of these cases, are most definitely not just young girls. They're also young boys. And these young children that are easily intimidated, or, like I said, have low self-esteem, people are looking at their social media, seeing how they talk, how they dress, and everything. And this is how these people start communicating with them. And I won't go too much into my case until on Sunday, reference the female that lived in California. She was reported as missing, and I do missing person follow-ups. So, officers, they just take a report and say, oh, she's 17, 16, she's missing. She probably just ran away with her boyfriend. I think a lot of, say that again?
No, you're good. You can.
Oh, I say that a lot of our children that are being reported as missing are being eventually human trafficked is because when they end up missing, they're missing with a guy or a woman who they're thinking is going to be their friend, their boyfriend or girlfriend, and they end up being human trafficked. So that's why parents need to be very, very diligent in making sure they know everything that their kids do, their whereabouts. The girl from New York, mom worked all night. She met a guy on social media. They spoke for almost 2 years. He told her he wanted to marry her. He was grooming her. She ended up sharing her location with him. They got very, very close, and he told her he loved her. And then the next thing you know, he lives in New York. She lives in California. He's an adult. She's a child. He knocks on her door. She answers, and it's him. She ends up going back to New York with him. And so I'm getting like search warrants for her phone and everything. Her friends at school are telling me she met somebody from New York. So luckily I had a lot of resources and stuff like through her school. And actually her mother was able to give me a lot of information except for all her passwords. Mother didn't even know half of the social media accounts that the child had. So long story short, she ended up in New York with an adult, and luckily I found his number through a search warrant, and I made contact with him, and he immediately hung up on me. Her phone was disabled. There was no way to make contact with her. And then like 2 days later, I received a text message from his phone, and it was from this juvenile begging me, please help me. You know, he has me. He's refusing to let me go. He's holding me captive. So I had to get with the FBI and with the NYPD, and eventually they did make contact at his house. I gave his location and everything. And luckily they did make a forced entry, and, you know, they saved this young lady who was held in her captive. He actually stabbed one of the NYPD officers and said that he was getting ready to take her to Puerto Rico and human traffic her. So, and this was just one of the good cases because she was found. There are so many kids out there that are not found. I mean, we have to stay on top of this. A missing person, we need to dig deeper. We can't just say, oh, they ran away because they just don't want to be home or this or that. Everybody runs away for a reason. And now in 2024, 2023, human trafficking is one of the biggest reasons why these kids, boys and girls, are being human trafficked. It's a lot of pimping and pandering. I mean, we have to save our children because children, unfortunately, aren't being taught these things in school, reference social media, people that they're meeting, you know, sharing their information. There's not enough education out there for the kids or the parents, in my eyes. And we need to help. We need a lot more of these events going on to help these kids.
Wow. Wow. I'm so thankful that you knew what to do at that moment, because sometimes if you're not trained to do something like this, you won't think on top of your head, like about you won't think on your feet, right? So I'm so thankful that you found a way to kind of really reach out to the other law enforcement departments and the FBI, and be able to, like you said, you saved this one, but there's so many. And even, you know, Juanika, we were talking about the reason why we even started doing this, right? You shared a case that was something similar, a young girl, right? Who was talking to an adult, and, you know, she was shamed to walk that shame of that, what you call it, the walk of shame back home, because her predator, or, you know, her the gentleman left her at the mid like late night to walk home because of, you know, the situation. But I want you to talk on that, Juanika, because that's what really led for us to say it's time to talk about it. It's time to really let our family know, close in the family. You can't just leave these kids, like Detective Watson said. Know their passwords. You paying for the bill. You paying for it. Like my daughter, I said, you don't got options. Like you get turned off when I said so. I pay this bill. We give our kids them too much of a leeway, letting them think that they grown. If they that grown, tell them to pay the bill. And even if they still pay the bill, you living in my house. You don't lock me out of here, out of these social media platforms. So Juanika, talk to us about, you decided to do this event on this Sunday, and you brought these powerful ladies together to be able to share the experience, share their expertise, and really bring forth awareness to our audience. There's a situation that happened to you, and not to you, but there was a situation that was in your community. I know we can't address the person's name or anything like that, but I want you to make aware, bring forth the awareness of that case and why you decided to now partner up with Candace. Why did you decide to partner up with Detective Watson to really bring this awareness to I Am Integrity platform, but also to our social media platforms as well?
So thank you. So let me back up a little bit. We actually started to plan this out before those incidents happened. Well, before that incident happened, we had talked about that a little bit sooner, because I have 12-year-old twins, and they're still innocent. I mean, I'm not saying they don't know what's going on in the world, but they're still kids. And of course, I have a heart for young people. I always want to try to find ways to make them safe. And so when I started on Integrity, I noticed that I was having some kids who were following us, but it was from multiple accounts. And I thought, man, that's weird. Now, I do know that from working in schools and stuff like that, there are some parents that say you can not have social media at all. Absolutely not, no social media. And so they don't have it, but they use other people's accounts. And so in those communications, using other people's accounts, parents are kind of left in the dark. The incident that happened here in West Manchester was almost just like the straw that broke the camel's back, in my opinion. I am sick and tired of seeing Amber Alerts and missing person alerts for young people. And so I know that part of the problem is parental involvement and management of things. We got a lot of young people that think they know everything and got everything all figured out. And there are some things that come naturally with a phone. They can work a phone like you wouldn't believe. But there are some things that are turned on automatically with phones that you have to go in and deactivate in order to prevent things from, locations and things like that. That's always been like part of my training and all that. I have grandchildren that use electronics, and always thinking of ways. I always talk to my sons about making sure that locations and things like that are deactivated with pictures and stuff like that. So we had a case that I saw on the news of a young man. Well, I'm not even calling him. It was a grown man. He's not a gentleman. I know you had mentioned him and called him a gentleman. He's not a gentleman. He was not a gentleman. But he met a little girl who was 12 online through some kind of chat, and they developed a relationship. He drove 2.5 hours to her house to pick her up in the middle of the night. Her parents noticed that she wasn't there in the middle of the night and called police to report her missing. I guess around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, she returns and she walks home. From the investigation, from what I have seen on the news, I have not investigated this case. I don't have the full-on details. It's just what was reported to the news and what I've been following from that case. He went to take her back home and saw a lot of police activity near her house. And so he got scared. And so because he was afraid, he decided to drop her off home, blocks away from her house, and she had to walk home. Now, I don't know what kind of coercion or if there was coercion at all for a 12-year-old girl to be convinced to leave out of her house. But the point that we had to focus on is that she's 12 and he was 20, that she left, maybe on her own free will. Maybe there was some threats or interrogation or threats or things like that to cause her to leave. I don't know those details, but the fact of the matter is she did leave with him. And then he returned her back home to her parents, violated. And immediately after I saw that that article, I wanted to make sure that people were aware of what's going on right in our backyard. I've gone to several human trafficking trainings, and so I'm very well aware of what's going on. I've also done human trafficking investigations. Most of the time, it ends up with it's adults. It's not children. It hits different when we're talking about kids. It hits different when you're talking about a 12-year-old girl. I have a 12-year-old daughter. I'd lose my mind if something like that happened to my daughter. And because I want to keep her safe, I want to keep every kid possible safe. And the only way that we can do that is by educating them. If they know better, then they have the opportunity to do better. If the parents know better, then they have the opportunity to do better. And so this is set up, this workshop is set up to obviously educate and inform, but also to start a conversation. Have an honest conversation with your son or daughter about their internet activity, or social media activity, and allow them to be honest and transparent with you about their involvement with it. How much do they know? How much are they doing on social media? A lot of times kids have more than one account. They got the account for the family, and then they got the other one that their friends are on that isn't so okay. Maybe it's language on there or something like that that's shared. But so the point of it is that I wanted to make sure that we reach as many people as possible so that they know the importance of the online safety and communicating with their children, and that children know that you got to find some adult that that is safe and that you trust, mostly your parents, that can help you in situations when you don't know what to do. I'm sure that young lady that Detective Watson's talking about, when he showed up at her house, she's like, oh, wait a minute, what do I do now? She's compelled to make a decision at that point. So,
wow. I hear you because I too have a 12-year-old. And when you told me the story, I felt like my heart was in my mouth. It was just a disturbing feeling to know that as a mother of a 12-year-old, that this 12-year-old was out there like in that manner. And one thing, Candace, you said, and I want to kind of bring you back to the stage, you made mention of what people normally think of, that white van. And yes, Detective Watson, it was a girl. This person that Juanika is talking about was a girl. But is this human trafficking? Is it really only finding females? I know just again, we're talking about human trafficking. We're talking about online safety. When we think about the victims, are they only female? Are they only going to show up in these white vans? You shared that. So I want to kind of have you elaborate more on that, because you have an understanding of how this process also works.
Sure. And thank you for that, Melissa. So first and foremost, when you talk about that 12-year-old, right, and you both have 12-year-olds, imagine a case I had about 10 years ago where I had a 12-year-old that was pregnant. I am still in that young lady's life, and she has a 10-year-old son. So if you can't imagine the 12-year-old, you definitely can't imagine the 12-year-old is pregnant. And so I bring that to your attention because it is not that white van. It is absolutely not that white van. And what I say is, when you're thinking of the trafficker, the buyer, and the victim, Picture them as male and or female, okay? Because any of them, typically people would like to think that the trafficker is always the male and that the victim is always female. Absolutely not. When we get into it on Sunday, we talk about bottom girls, the recruitment, the grooming. That is a whole nother world. And so, you know, when I hear some people say, oh, it's a socioeconomic thing. Absolutely not. Does it happen in certain areas? Absolutely. But what I can assure you is it happens in the wealthy areas too. So while people are out there looking for that white van, somebody's working on your child, recruiting your child, grooming your child, and taking your child. So stay away from that white van myth, because that's exactly what it is. Our young boys are equally as susceptible. The difference is boys don't tell. We as females, we're going to tell somebody, be it a school counselor, be it your best friend, be it that trusted person. We as females will tell. Males don't. And it's kind of like the sexual assault in the DV, right? Males feel that shame and blame. They're not as quick to tell. So that's a whole other thing that we will get into on Sunday about not just protecting your girls, but you're protecting your boys as well.
Wow. That's just, again, I love how we're talking about this in this open manner, because this is a subject we see on TV so much, but we don't have the conversation. So thank you, Juanika Ballard, the CEO and visionary of I Am Integrity, for really saying it's time. It's time to have this conversation. And, you know, tell us, Juanika, I know that we are talking about this event on Sunday. I want people to understand that these ladies are taking the time out of their busy schedule to share their knowledge so you and your family can be safe. I said to Juanika, this call should be packed. It should be like nobody, people trying to get into this these calls. Why? We use the internet daily. We are on it every single day. Your children, if you don't have children, your nieces, your nephew, your cousin, your godkids, your grandkids, they all use it. Why would you not want them to be safe? We're not charging for you to come on this platform to hear this information. It's free knowledge. So, Juanika, I want you to go into more details. Tell us about this event on Sunday. What time is this event on Sunday? Where can they register? Because we want you to register. Why? We want you. We're not trying to take them to get your social. We're not trying to get it on your credit card. We just need your name and your email so we can keep you updated, because this is not going to be only a one-timer. We're going to have this again for the adults in your life, because we have to create strategies and have some tips. And, you know, Candace is going to give us some great ideas on how we can keep our kids safe. Even as adults, we're walking in the parking lot, and guess what we're doing? We're on the phone like this. We're not looking around our surroundings. We're in the bathroom, not realizing they can hide in the bathroom too. And we so busy on the phone, right? You know, we got to learn safety tips. And this is a detective. Juanika, you know, even though she's a CEO and the visionary of I Am Integrity, she still serves on the force. Candace works with the community at large to find, making sure this human trafficking doesn't it does exist, but people can be aware of it, right? So, Juanika, I want you to share with us a little bit about this event that's happening this Sunday. What time? How can they register? Because I really want to have Detective Watson to dig deeper, and Candace also to kind of piggyback off of that situation, off of Detective Watson again about online safety. How can we protect our kids online? How can we know what's going on? How can we understand our surroundings so we won't be the victim? So, Juanika, I'm going to ask you, tell us about this event, and then we'll dig deeper with Detective Watson and Candace.
So the online safety workshop is going to be on Sunday, July 28th at 3 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. You can go on and register at IamIntegrityEvents.com. We go on and register. We want to issue a password to you so that you're able to enter into the event, the workshop. The event or the workshop is designed just to do that. It's to teach you about the online safety. It is to give you the trafficking awareness so you can recognize signs and things that just don't seem right. Also about your own safety awareness, like, posting where you are and things of that nature. We want to make sure that you could change that www.iamintegrityevents.com. But we want to make sure that everybody's safe. If this is information that I would give to my children and grandchildren, I want to make sure that other people, other kids are safe as well, other families are safe. I've had cases where I had to go back and forth with parents trying to figure things out to get information from a friend that knows a friend that knows a friend to find out where young people are. It is a very scary place to be in. It's a very scary situation, and it can be prevented. Again, like Candace said, that whole myth about, the white van's coming or somebody's got some candy and they're trying to lure you into candy. That's not it. These traffickers are skilled. They are intentional. This is not an accident. They're not, I thought that it was something else. They know exactly what they're doing. And the people that are around them that help them carry this out know exactly what they're doing. A lot of times we go real soft on females and real hard on males. But again, like Candace said, we're not just talking about males who are traffickers. There are females who are doing this stuff too. So we want to make sure that people are informed and they have the knowledge necessary to be safe. And that's just the bottom line. I wanted to make sure we pick some of the top people that you can find. That's why we had Miss Candace. That's why we had Detective Watson. I think that our community deserves to have the best there is, and that's what they're getting. They're getting the best in the game. So we got Candace. We have Detective Watson. I want to say her first name, but I'm trying to keep it police friendly. But we want to have qualified, great professionals, and that's what you're going to get. You're going to get that on Sunday. You're going to get information, tools, and things to look for so that you can keep your family safe. Because at the end of the day, you working all the time and your kid's not safe. It's going to be pointless for you.
Wow. Thank you so much again, Juanika, for sharing that information for us. And, let's dig deeper real quick because I really want them to, we're not going to give you guys everything. That's what Sunday's all about. And then you have the opportunity when you do come on Sunday, we're going to do a breakout room where you will have Candace in one room. You have Detective Watson in one room. You will have Juanika in one room. And you get to really ask those questions. So it's just like a classroom setting, but we're going to separate it out. Why? Because we're going to give you the overall information, but we want to also do some breakout room where we can provide you that one-on-one time to ask those questions. And I like Juanika's, what Juanika said. She said, I want you to register. Why? Say, if we're going to be trained talking about safety online safety, and we give you the passcode openly, that ain't safe. So I like the fact that, Juanika, you said that. One of the reasons why we're registering, so you can be also protected. Register so you can get the password to get into this online safety where we're also talking about human trafficking. So I want to really kind of dig deeper, and I'm going to ask both to Candace and Detective Watson to kind of piggyback off of each other. Why are they targeting our youth? Candace, I want you to answer that for us, but Detective Watson, I want you to share what your experience is. Why do you feel that they're targeting our youths?
First and foremost, it's $150 billion industry.
Okay, I want you to repeat that.
$150 billion industry.
What is?
Sex trafficking. Child sex trafficking, right? So like I said, To Juanika's point, you are going to get an experience on Sunday, and we are going to go into cases, because even with the task force, it's made up of Homeland Security, FBI, state's attorneys, and we actually talk about some of the cases for as much as we can, right? But when people say why our youth? It's money. And unlike drug trafficking, drugs are one and done. Kids are not. It's repeat business. So why are kids? They're vulnerable. Unfortunately, sex sells. There are a lot of sick people out there. They want what they want. And so when you ask me why, first and foremost, the money that they make off of this. Second of all, our kids are vulnerable. And as we show in one of our videos, if you're not looking out for your kids, those traffickers are. So vulnerable. The vulnerability is key for how they get the kids.
Wow, wow, wow.
And I agree with the vulnerability part, because our children now, and it's because now, both parents in a household have to work. So a lot of our kids, they're coming home from school, or like in the summertime when they're at home by themselves. I mean, kids are getting bored, there's not enough for them to do. And if you go outside, like at Christmas time, you don't see kids outside riding their bikes and playing with each other. They're inside the house on their computers. And these predators know this. These kids are on their computers, they're meeting people, and the predators are picking out the vulnerable ones, the ones that need attention, want affirmation on how good they might look. And that's why it's so easy for them to do it now.
Wow. I mean, you are so right. Back in the day, we knew that when the lights, well, I mean, I'm young, right? But when the street lights are off, you get home. We played double dutch. We had, like, some stones on the road, on the floor, on the ground that we throwing at each other. We played hula hoops. There was always something in the community to do.
Mm-hmm.
And in this day and age we're living in, it's all technology. When you think about that, how do we keep our kids safe? I know we talked about password safety, knowing those password safety, but what other things can you say, Detective Watson, will be a red flag for parents, but also how can we be alerted to keep our children safe?
So first of all, besides the passwords and everything, parents just need to be more involved in their children. They need to be more involved. And also, I mean, some red flags, all of a sudden a child becomes very private and quiet, when they're on their phone or something, like kind of hide it so nobody can see what they're doing. I mean, we have to pay attention to all this, but most of all, parents need to sit down, nobody sit down at the dinner table. How was your day? Discuss, know what your kids are doing throughout the day. You may not be there with them 24/7. Be involved in their lives. Know what they're doing. Know who they're talking to. No, you can ask a parent today, so what's your child's name? Oh, I don't know. Where's your child? I mean, not your child, but your child's friend. Or where does your child's friend live? Oh, I don't know. Parents need to be way more involved in their children.
I 110% agree. And you'll find the excuse is, well, if I got to be involved, I can't make no money and they can't eat. I get it, because I'm a single mom, but we have to make that time, make room. And also, like, I love what you said, have the conversation, talk to them, find out what's going on, who you talking to, sneak up in there. There's no locking no doors in my house. You don't pay no bills here. Why are you locking the door? So these are things that we have to talk about. So I know we're getting to time, and I want to really ask this question to all three of you ladies. Why do we all, I'm going to say the word again, why do we all need to be involved? Because you three have not, I know that Candace, this is your first time really putting eyes on myself, and Juanika, and Detective, this is the first time you put an eye on me, but we all four of us come together on a platform to share this information. So I believe that we are involved. Why do we all, that those who are listening now, those who are going to listen to the replay, those who are coming on Sunday, why do we all need to be involved? I'm going to start with you, Candace, and I'm going to go to Detective Watson, and then Juanika, you can close us in. Oh, I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. It's okay, I was waiting. First and foremost, you have to educate yourself, because if you walk around thinking that it doesn't and cannot happen to you, that's the first mistake. And we all need to be involved, because I cannot tell you how many times I've had, as I call them, conversations, not presentations. And then somebody reaches back to me months later because they've been able to resonate with what the information was that they got. If you don't connect yourself and commit yourself to the understanding of what trafficking is, you cannot even recognize it. So that when you do have that child that, and I love what you said, Melissa, what do you mean my phone? And I had a grandmother ask me one time, well, what happens when my grandchild won't give me the code to the phone? And I said, the phone you pay for, that phone, you disconnect the phone, and then neither one of you needs the code, right? And so it starts right there. But if parents go around thinking it's a foreign issue, that it's the border issue, that it doesn't happen in all areas and all incomes, and keep believing that, they're never, ever going to recognize it until it's too late. And they've got Detective Watson knocking on their door saying, we have your child, or we found your child. And so my thing is, educate yourself first. If you're educated and you understand what it is, what it looks like, and even though we're talking about online safety, we're going to touch on Sunday about how that recruiting happens in the schools. And so, like I tell the teachers, what is in schools? Other kids. So even though they may have got one online, your child may be caught up in that whole truancy thing. So why do you need to be involved? You need to be involved to educate yourself on it, protect your children, your grandchildren, as you said, nieces, nephews, all of that. And then if you do understand not only what it is, but who you reach out to. That's what's important to me. Who
I
do you
love
reach
it.
out to?
Thank you so much. I mean, again, this is something that is necessary. We all need to know this information. So, Detective Watson, tell us, why do you think we all need to get involved? You have to do this job on a daily basis, and you've seen the good where we rescue them, and you see the bad where they're nowhere to be found. Why do we all need to be involved?
I think we all need to be involved and educated on it, because these children are our future, and we need to save our future. We need to save our children. If everybody gets involved, this person can be educated on the human trafficking, the safeties and concerns. They can educate someone else. If we all stay involved and get involved, then we can all save each other's children, all the children out here, because that is the main concern, is saving the children in our world.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much. And I love how you made it all so general in the world, because it's not just here in America. It's the internet is everywhere. You go on a cruise now. Like, I love Virgin Voyages. I'm a big girl, right? So on Virgin Voyages, I'm in the middle of the ocean, and I have full access to internet, even in the ocean, y'all. So it's everywhere. So I'm so thankful that you said we all need to be involved, and we need to make sure all our children are safe around the world. So Juanika, close us in. Why do you, as the CEO and visionary of I Am Integrity, decided to put something like this together, to bring these ladies together, to share this information? You work as a police officer for 20 plus years. You see the ins and the outs of the streets, and the things that happens in our community, but you also see the need to protect our youth, because that's where your heart is. So tell us, why do you feel we all need to be involved?
Well, thank you for everybody just showing up and sharing this information with everybody. It's important for everybody to get involved, because everybody plays a part. If you don't have a child, that it's okay. You still can play a part in helping to save our young people. Aunts, uncles, cousins. If you know your, relative or family member, friend, or whatever has kids and they're online, follow that page. Follow them as well. Be that listening ear. Be that sounding board for them. Be that safe place for them so they can share information with you, and that will lead to a less likelihood of them getting involved in things that they don't know how to get out of. They just don't know. I've run across investigations with adults, adult women, adult men involved in being trafficked, and they didn't know what to do. They were stuck, and they were so in debt for the things that they had just enjoyed, like McDonald's. They couldn't leave. They didn't know how to leave, or they were so far away from home they didn't know how to navigate their way back, or they had been gone for so long that they didn't know how their family was even going to receive them. So those are all things that play a part in this whole human trafficking thing. But one thing that I want to go back to real quick before we're done is that Detective Watson mentioned about kids being bored, and that they don't have anything to do. And it's true. There are not a lot of free things that young people can do. That's part of what I'm Integrity is, why it's so important for I'm Integrity to make its way across the nation, is because not everybody can afford to put their child into sports and other activities. There needs to be a safe place for them to go. But even though they can't afford to put them into those activities, guess what they do have? They got phones. They have access to any and everything. And so it is important to give that knowledge and awareness to the families so that they can be safe and they can make informed decisions, and that we have young people who understand that there's an adult out there who loves them, who cares about them, and who wants them to be safe every single day. We're here. We're fighting for them, and we're going to do everything that it takes in order to keep them safe. That's why we're still doing our job. That's why Detective Watson still doing what she does. That's why Candace is still doing what she does. That's why I'm taking the next step from doing uniform police work to now doing it in a nonprofit sector.
Drop the
Because
mic.
they matter. They matter, and it's important. It really is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is so amazing. I mean, I get chills listening to you ladies. And even after Sunday, I really want to keep this connection going with Candace, with Detective Watson. I can't wait, Juanika, for us to have our first annual I'm Integrity live safety training, to talk about it, to talk about different tips and tricks and things that we need, and to bring other experts around us to be able to let the community know you need to be safe. You need to know your surrounding. You need to be careful when you go to the different public bathrooms, the different things that we think it's so light or so, oh, that ain't gonna happen to me. It does. I always tell my daughter, you don't move where I can't see. I don't got eyes in the back of my head. You stay where I am. And when it's time for me to get her in the car, I go around where she is and I put her in the car. Why? Because I can't be in my driver's side and then she's on the other side. And then, I can't see back there. Or I say to her, whenever we're out and after a certain time, you only come on my side of the car. You don't go on the other side because I can't see you on that side. Especially if you have it as mothers, we got groceries in our hand and we do multiple things. We're not thinking about that. So I can't wait to I Am Integrity really do this live where we can, fly Detective Watson. And you heard me say fly you in, Detective Watson. We're flying you in, okay?
I'm
All right.
ready.
We're going to get this together because I truly believe you ladies today, I had to feel what this was going to be like. And I told Juanika, synergy is going to happen. And I'm so glad that we did this today because I want people to rewatch this thing. And I'm going to play this again tomorrow. I'm going to play this again, repeat this on tomorrow so you can know what's going to come forth on Sunday. So, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to give them some good nuggets on Sunday so they can take with them. Then we're going to we're going to do this again. I'm not sure. We'll put together the time that we're going to do this again, another online. Then we're going to figure out when we're going to fly Detective Watson in and Candace to come on in, and we're going to do something live in Pennsylvania. Come through, and then I'm going to get y'all over here in hot Florida, where the sun is beautiful, and have y'all come through and really do something major over it on this side as well. So, ladies, we are done, and I'm so thankful that we did this today. So, y'all join us again online on Sunday, July the 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am integrityevents.com. I am integrityevents.com. Register, because you can't come without the code now. It is called an online safety event. All right. So we need you to register at IamIntegrityEvents.com. Until Sunday, y'all, take care, take charge, and be great.